Good evening, friends. Welcome to CPD number 7 for the year 2015. Vice President Mr. Neil Johnson to introduce our speaker for today's event.
This is a very special event. Apart from the regular CPD seminar, we have invited valuable sponsors to attend this event who have immensely supported us and gave their advertisement for the magazine 2015, International Magazine. We have launched this magazine in Bangalore in the one-day global conference. Yet, we want to personally thank all of them and to personally hand over the copies to them. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. With regard to CPD, it is a very interesting and important subject, value engineering. When we think about value engineering, when the tenders are open, immediately the consultant, the client, everybody talk about, okay, we have to do value engineering. Remove all the marble and put the ceramic and we're done with that and we have to reduce the cost. That kind of approach, attitude towards value engineering is there in the market. But today, we want to learn what is true value engineering. What is the true meaning of value engineering and how it differs from the cost-cutting measures we so-called value engineering the people used to call, and we are how to apply in the day-to-day practical professional life. All these things we are going to learn from a very, very competent speaker today. He is my old friend. I worked with Mr. Khursheed. Saiyed is a member of Saiyed International and Value Management Specialized and Facilitator accredited by Saiyed International. Over the past 46 years of professional career, 15 years he has been in the field of value management. He has conducted numerous value management studies for projects in Canada, the United States, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, addressing project scope of more than 4 billion with a cost saving of approximately $350 million. His professional career includes working as a project manager, clients consultant, senior cost consultant, quantity surveyor, and value management and program manager. Without wasting much time, may request all of you to put your hands together and let's welcome Mr. Khursheed.
The title itself indicates that there can be two sides. Value engineering can be a challenge or an opportunity. Opportunity, if you take it positively and follow the systematic process, then it's an opportunity you can convert into something beneficial. Challenge is sometimes people feel that this is all nonsense. We already do this. So it becomes a challenge for people like us to come forward and make sure that we understand the thing behind it. And then there is a process which has been already well established. We'll go through all that later on. So let me contrast. It can turn around a project from being dumped to a very successful project, provided we identify all the elements that will be beneficial to the project. Through identifying the best return on investment, we need to look for information how we can improve the value, and that is where it can turn into an opportunity. As a challenge, going against current is always difficult. People have preset ideas about something, and if you try to turn them around, then it becomes a challenge, it's difficult. Decision makers must be convinced that PE improves value. Now, what we do to address that particular aspect is we have free workshop meetings with the owner and the key consultants to tell them what this VE is going to be done. They can be convinced by our examples. So I say we had done so many value engineering sessions, and following the current process, it has saved an amount of money or time or quality. And therefore, I would, as a facilitator, I would say, I will challenge that at the end of this workshop, if we run properly, then it will have definitely cost savings. there's a big, long history where we've gone through extra overtime or cost savings. Sometimes cost may increase, but added cost or risk on terminal and integration problems can save important work. Now again, when you say, I come across a lot of times where we say, this may increase the cost, and the client will say, I'm not here to hear about cost increases. We are here to do the deal to cut the cost, reduce the cost. Don't come up with the idea that it will increase. And this is where I say, thank you very much, I will close my laptop and go home. You don't need me then. The definition, official definition of SAIL International is the value methodology can, let me correct, first of all, VE, value engineering, value management, value analysis. These are very closely connected or can be even substituted for one another. It's fine that there are final points which separate the two. We don't go into detail at this time, maybe sometime in the future. By definition, a systematic process used to improve value of a product, project, or a system using multidisciplinary team involving all major stakeholders. You must have good participation from all stakeholders, not some are sitting negative, not thinking about it, not participating, and maybe doing some elements and not doing others. You can emphasize on architectural structure and forget about MEP. Very disaster. So you have to have multidisciplinary team, and they must be major stakeholders, not some backbenchers who come and participate. Now, the next statement is a motherhood statement. VM is a function driven and cost oriented. It is driven by function, what a product or system is supposed to do to deliver. That is the function. It is driven by function, and I'll give you some examples later on. And cost oriented. The whole approach is to look at the function, does it do the job that it is required to do, and we want to, after all, we want to look at the cost part of it. So if you keep both these themes in terms in mind, then you will deliver equal value. Okay. Every process has a history and how it will come back from olden times to today's technology. It was developed by Larry Miles, who was working as an engineer of the GE during the Second World War, and he came across situations where there are due to the Second World War, the materials and systems are not readily available in the market. So Larry thought about an approach by which we can identify for the same function by alternate specification, change of material, change of method, what we call today expected specification. Like to give a fire production system, you give them a performance specification. So in 1996, there is SAIL International had a number of branches there. It started in 1959, and progressively Society of American Value Engineers was established, and it's been running ever since. And you can see the users. Users are the big corporations, US military, Air Force, Boeing, Bombardier, you can name almost. Here in Dubai, DM has employed right from the beginning. Even on Metro, with one of my colleagues, he participated as this presenter. So Einstein said, if I was given an hour to solve a problem on which my life depended, I would spend 45 minutes studying it, 10 minutes reviewing it, and 5 minutes solving it. and operate. So what is value management? A creative approach to provide highest value to the customers. Improving function and quality at the least cost. You can meet the functional and quality requirement, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're not breaking the bank. An investigation by a multidisciplinary team representing all stakeholders, and a structured methodology using 5-phase job plan. Society of American Engineers have come up with this 5-phase job plan, which is investigating step by step. So you get, and we'll see that a little later, what are those 5 steps? It has become a key to the structured process. You can do all research, you can find solutions and all that, but if you have a structured approach, then it provides better results. Elimination of or modifying the functions that does not add value. Now this is another, the aim, what you want is eliminate, you want to eliminate or modify the functions. If the door is not required here and you put it there because it's nice to have. So your meeting. So what you need to do is to eliminate the functions that don't add value. You have a system or a product or a project and specification written down, and client says that my specification, go and do it. But what happens is that when you examine very closely, then some of the functions may not be required. So eliminate this function or modify them so that they still deliver the same functionality but at the lowest cost. Or what we call a worthless exercise. Just put something which is not really worth it. Where the example is in the basement in the back side, back of the house, what they call in hotel language, is you put very wonderful aluminum glazed door. It's not required. What it requires is basically a wooden door or a sheet metal door into the same function. So you want to make sure that those things which don't add any value, so eliminate them. When you eliminate unrequired functions, you eliminate cost. And that's how you end up with cost saving. Now, we already talked about this, so I will not go through and do it. Key to successful function is management commitment, correct timing, correct team configuration, proper preparation, and flexibility and loyalty. Now, this is actually my first slide. When I start the workshop, whether it is a workshop or presentation, value engineering is not cost cutting. What value engineering is not mere cost cutting, it's not slash and burn, cut it down, bring it down within the budget by any means. That's not value engineering. Not quality reduction. You still want to have same or better quality within the same amount of money that is available to you. It does not delay the project. Generally, when you try to sell value engineering to a client, they will say, we don't have time. We already gone ahead, conceptual design is already done, schematic is going on, and now you said we want to do value engineering. It will delay the project. And that scares any project manager or owner saying, no, we cannot afford to delay. But experience shows that but I can challenge that if you properly do the job, it does not cost more time. Time is reduced because maybe you identify some items which are. Thank you. Where is the expert? I think I'm staying too close to. Sorry. It does not delay the project because you find ways and means to not only cut down the cost but modify your timeline. Sometimes you come up with ideas which will save time. And what are the three functions that we have for value engineering? Is you must have look at the cost, look at the time, and the risk. So you identify this and make a good balance between the items. Does not cost more than it is worth. People say, Mr. Khursheed, what's the fee? You want to spend 200,000 on this? I said, no, thank you very much. We don't have that kind of money. But if I can convince them that at the end of the workshop or end of the study, you will make sure that you have saved at least 10 times the cost incurred. Now, I had my first-hand experience back in Canada where we had clients who would say, prove it to us that you will save money. I said, not only save money, cost of workshop, but if it is not 10 times cost of the thing, it is free. And I had a client who said, well, if you say that, I can't argue. Prove it. So we did one little workshop on a building for a big company, and we saved 100 times. Not 10 times the cost, 100 times the cost. And it was nothing miracle. You study step by step, you pay the fees. Let us say our fee is 100,000 dirhams. If you save 5 million dirhams out of this 2 days exercise, then you can calculate how many times over it's been done. Does not reflect poor design effort. Now this is another blame game sometimes where the value engineering team comes together with ideas, they analyze everything, put the cost, time, risk factors on, and then a nice report, okay, we saved 10 million dirhams. And then the next reaction from the owner is, why didn't you do this before? If you paid attention, you would have saved time and cost that time. But the fact is that it is not a poor design. It's a wrong brief sometimes. Owner will give the brief, 50 pages, and say, do this, 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 this. And then when you examine it, you say, well, some of the things are not necessary. So it is not the owner or the architect or engineers, they have made some mistakes. They try to improve the value by taking the whole big picture in consideration. When you do that, it is sometimes wrong communication from owner to the architect or engineers. And when you tell them that this is the idea which will work, owner will say, prove it. Once you work on that one, and it is shown that it is not the poor design. Design was done based on the requirement of the project or a brief given to us, but now you realize that those things are not required. So design changes for the betterment. So it's very easy to blame somebody saying, oh, your design was rubbish, that's why you have to give away cost extra or save. It is not beneficial without management support. We said owner participation is required, so it's the same thing. Now, we heard about function all the time, and by analyzing function is the key word to the whole value engineering process. In fact, the word value management, value engineering is all worked around the functionality. So the heart of V is a function analysis, where you analyze the function, what does the product or system or method does. You identify primary functions and secondary functions. What is the main function that an item is supposed to perform? We can talk in detail, but take a simple example, is that you take the primary function of the door is to control access. Now you can do it with a wooden door, you can do it with an aluminum door, you can do it with a steel door, you can do number of things. But also, there is no need for a door. So when you dig into the thing, then you identify primary function is to control access, secondary function is it has to be some sound rating, it has to be aesthetic looks, has to be there, operational wise it is good, so those are secondary functions. When you put them together, then you realize that really meeting all these functionalities, we can still have a reasonable cost. The process is the process which has been developed over the years, and this FAST, F-A-S-T, which stands for Function Analysis Systems Technique, is sometimes later on we'll go through the process, but basically you have beginning of the project and you have the delivery. You talk about what is being delivered and how it is being delivered. When you put these two together, and you can get reasonable record and reasonable benefit. I don't say cost. Benefit can be time or risk. And if you want to have some time later on, if people are interested, we are prepared to hold a semi-workshop. 3 hours, 4 hours workshop, and go through all this, and then we will address the functional analysis. When an inquiry comes from the client for value engineering, they said we want to have a functional analysis done. Without that, don't move. It has lost a lot of time in the oil and gas, in specialty buildings, and infrastructure projects and so on. What is the benefit of doing value engineering? It provides an objective and creative design review. When you go through the final tools come to say what are the alternatives, then you are identifying the design. Timing still permits changes before major commitments are made. Now, if you are doing the value engineering at this concept or schematic design stage, you haven't spent a lot of money buying material or installing. You can make a change and on paper, and you can still achieve it. So earlier the better. If you do it at the concept stage, you are looking at the big picture, bigger items. But if you go to schematic design, where a reasonable design is being done, and projects are well understood, everybody knows what is required. That time you make changes, it doesn't cost much, but a lot of advantages are there. As you go down the road and you go into the detailed design stage of construction, then your savings opportunities are shrunk. It increases the level of confidence in the project budget and schedule. Once you have proven that this is functionality has been made and you are meeting the quality and time-wise, then you can boldly say, yes, this design will work and it will cost you less, or it will be faster, it will be less risky. Enhancing the project alignment and team building. Now this is a byproduct of value engineering workshops. A lot of people participate in workshop, they do the work back in their cabin or in their offices, but they don't get a chance to interact with people. That's why it has become very popular and important to have is what they call it, team building. Now I know I have done a number of workshops, and we did a refinery project, and at the end of the workshop, the project manager came back to me and says, Khursheed, this man has been sitting next to me, one is client, one is consultant, we are sitting next to each other for 6 months now, but we did not communicate as well as we do now. So we got to know each other, their background, the family, difficulties, successes, failures, and they become, now when they come up with a proposal for value engineering, then it is our idea, it's not his or mine. Client and consultant both are working, even the contractor. They work together and come to the solution saying, by the way, this is our solution. There is no conflict. Engineering principle, main principles are just very quickly go through that. There is always room for improvement. There is always better mousetrap. You have to find how to get it. More creative ideas are generated by groups than individuals. You can get good ideas walking down the street, but if you have a group together and brainstorm the ideas, then it is better value in shorter time. The methodical approach produces better results. You go systematically without wasting time and you get better results. Everybody is basically creative. Now, somebody who is sitting here and listening doesn't mean that he is dumb, he doesn't know anything. Everybody has creative ideas, but sometimes you are shut up. Now, I'll give you a quick example. You have multidisciplinary project meeting and some suggestions come in the structural items, comes from mechanical engineers. And what is the response you will get? They will say, you stick to your discipline, okay, don't step on my toes. He said, but I have worked for 20 years and I came across another project which was similar item was done, which improved structure of result. Now, so he will be fired mostly. He will say, sorry, don't go with the funny ideas. It is my subject, I know best, don't try to belittle me. And there is, the problem is people, the very engineering workshops are set up in such a way that there is no criticism. You come with ideas, whatever idea you can think. It can be good, bad, different, eliminate things, add, double it. Every idea is considered. Not so. What happens is the people who have good ideas, but other than a different discipline, or they didn't have opportunity to express their opinion, and therefore you stagnate opportunities. There are stories that I will tell later on. Everyone is basically creative. We have talked about that. Project life cycle must be as low as possible. The reason we do value engineering is to make sure that we get value for money. If that doesn't happen, then it may be capital cost saving, and most of the time, I'm sure everybody has come across, you talk about cost saving, capital cost saving. That's what you can identify. But more benefits come from operational cost, maintenance cost. If you reduce operational maintenance cost, it is over the life cycle of 20 years, 25 years, you get payback. Yes, and that becomes a criteria. But what happens in a hurry, in a short workshop or beginning of the project, you identify just the capital cost and go away. But you may have missed out the big opportunity of improving the life cycle cost. Now, where to apply? Again, some repetition will be there, so bear with me. To improve return on investment, to verify fit for purpose, specification, design, application. Now, again, second name of engineering is fit for purpose. Whatever you do, you want to deliver function. It has to be not just for show or just for pleasing somebody or displeasing somebody. It is the fit for purpose. You want to have a table here which has to be, it's not doing much, it's just holding a piece of computer. And it has to be basic. You don't need a fancy one. You can just do the basic table and do the job. That is fit for purpose. If you take for more complicated items, then you are running a refinery, for example, and if it doesn't deliver the output throughput that you require in the language, then it's no use. It has to serve the purpose, again, bottom line, at the least cost. To challenge prescribed criteria. Now, when we do the brainstorming, the rule is that and there are no bad ideas. You record every idea, no matter where it comes from, is it good, bad, or different idea. And in doing that, how to encourage the team to say, don't worry about good idea or bad idea. In fact, in my workshop, I generally say, the most ridiculous idea will get 100 dirhams. And I say, oh really? I can say anything? Yeah. So I have wild ideas. What it does is, if I say, go back to the same door, the requirement is there. Okay? Now, you said, is it fit for purpose? Yes. What else will do the same job at either less cost or more convenient or better operation wise? It has to be fit for purpose. You don't buy a car which is only for show. If it delivers all the functions at the least cost, then it is fit for purpose. So this is a key guideline given, orders given to the team saying, whatever you do, I don't want to have fancy makeup on it. Just do what is required to do. So does not mean that you ignore quality. It is still, one of the purposes is that it has to be a good looking, attractive project which will provide money. So you are challenging, but at the same time you have this opportunity in the workshop setting that you can challenge and nobody will be fired. To record best efforts to improve value. Now, we don't simply talk about it and go away. We have a systematic process. There is a form that you fill it out step by step, and you will see a sample where basically you identify what is the function which is prescribed, what is the alternative, what is the advantage of alternative, what is the disadvantages of alternative, cost and time impact. So it is all recorded. Even if the ideas are ridiculous and they are rejected, they are still recorded. Why was it rejected? Just try to two-line it. But 6 months later you will come back and say, by the way, that idea sounded rubbish that time, but now circumstances have changed, there is more funding available, less funding available, so revisit. But it is recorded. So the entire workshop is documented and submitted to the owner or project managers. Complex and problematic projects or products or processes, you apply value engineering there. On problematic, there are complex projects which doesn't simply go away by discussing one-on-one. You need to come together as a team and come up with ideas. And it is most useful on prototypes. Japanese have almost like a given that unless you do value engineering on a product, it will not go out of the shop. If they want to produce a car 3 years from now, they start doing value engineering today. So what you see model is 2016 coming out, nice Volvo, or nice, sorry, wrong example. Nice Mercedes, okay. So what they have done is, Japanese are very good at nitty-gritty, very minute details. They break the whole thing apart and then put it back together to say, okay, you want to improve the functionality, cost, or market share. So they do this. In my, what I have heard on the auto industry, they do 6 or 7 models before final model is selected. They break out this one, take out the muffler from here, engine is not sitting in the right place, not efficient, new technology has come up now, different material is available, number of combinations. So they spend a lot of time on prototype because you produce one, and a good one will give you how many times, millions of same kind of vehicles will come. So you simply have a multiplier there. So prototype is the most useful, and it is being practiced. And if you want to do, I don't think any manufacturer will go for without testing out the prototype. Or in our construction field, what else? Do the mock-up room. You do the mock-up, you spend maybe 1 or 2 months, 3 months time on studying it, every function, and have an agreement with the owner, saying, okay, this is what we can do. He walks in and says, yes, I like this, I don't like that, make changes. Mock-up room is approved, 500 rooms go ahead and do, like factory made. This is where we can use, or we do use, prototypes. When we use, very simple, earlier the better, concept for feasibility studies, maximum management, discriminate design, ideal time to do it because you know enough about the project but is not completed. So you can make some changes. Detail engineering phase, yes you can do it but limited scope because a lot of engineering has already been done, some material also has been ordered, so it will give a little less. During construction, testing, commissioning or operations, it is still applicable but is limited. But again, the question is, you cannot change things at the time. It's under construction. So, yes, you don't ignore, but at the same time, ask the contractor. He will give ideas. But before he's appointed, he said, why should I give you any ideas? You give me the job, I'll give you ideas. So, US Army, they have a formula, and this is a gain share formula. So before they go into engineering and full engineering, they get the contractor and say, okay, for all the cost saving that you come up with, you will get a percentage of that as a benefit. Sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes 50-50, sometimes 20, depending on what the situation is. But it is very popular. We encourage contractors to come on board earlier and go to design build approach or something similar, and you get the benefit. To retain the interest, then the client says, okay, if you save me 100 million dirhams, I will give you 40% back. We talked about the same thing in the graphical form earlier, the better you go. Now, this is basically we talked about the principles and methodology and so on. Now, to record what we found out is what we have the reporting process where you have set of forms where the 5-phase formula will apply. Anyway, one thing which we don't have it ready is this: we talk about a 5-phase job plan, and those 5 phases are fitted into when you record. Then you start with gathering information. That is the first phase. Whatever information is available, engineering-wise or criteria-wise, or anyway, we'll go through this first. So let me describe 5 phases. One is the information gathering, where you go to the drawing specifications, sharing ideas, rather sharing the knowledge is there, what is already been done, what is not done. You study that, and once you have understood the project, it's like Einstein says, be prepared. Investigate before you jump in. So it's the same thing. First phase is to gather information and maybe do some calculations and so on. The next phase is speculation and or brainstorming. Brainstorming has a rule. You cannot criticize ideas. Anybody in the room can come up with any ideas, and I can't say, oh, rubbish, oh, we didn't do this one. Otherwise, we'll start collecting money at 10 dirham in the pocket. So that is speculation, and it is the most interesting part, because there all the creativity comes up. That how about this, how about that, how about putting the chair here, putting the chair there, or so you come up with a number of ideas, and I'll tell you that 50% of the ridiculous ideas are turning back to something good, or combination. Maybe one idea doesn't work, but maybe a combination. I'll say ridiculous example of having no windows. So you can laugh it off, but you cannot criticize. So the next guy sitting there says, wait a minute, not having windows is not really a solution, but how about having spindle paving? How about having curtain wall? How about, so you have alternative solutions or suggestions for window. And when you examine them, you say, okay, out of this 10 ideas, 2 ideas are good, which will really meet all functionalities and quality requirement and timing and so on. So you pick up all these items and it gives you a free flow because there is no stopping. Nobody can tell you to shut up. Otherwise, maybe difficult work. So that is the second phase, brainstorming. This rule of not criticizing stops immediately after you finish brainstorming. And the time frame for brainstorming is there is no limitation. Come with ideas as long as new ideas keep coming up. Sometimes it takes 1 hour, sometimes it takes 4 hours. And I tell you from my experience, 2 hours you can come up with 100 ideas. All you do is list ideas. The moment you say an idea, okay, describe the idea only in terms of function and cost. And you list all the ideas. Then when exhausted, you have to check with all disciplines. You start with maybe you start with substructure, structural cladding, mechanical, electrical, infrastructure, operational cost. You come with all ideas and we actually follow a route part, a systematic process that you finish architecture, now let's go to mechanical, let's go to electrical, and then there is no discipline which is left out. But when you are coming with ideas, just because you have talked about mechanical doesn't mean that it has to strictly be mechanical. You have some idea about electrical, note it down. Don't lose the idea which you already come up with. So ultimately you come up with a list of ideas. Now, once you have listed all the ideas, then you have to sort them. The ideas that will work wonderfully, meet all the requirements, you give it an A as an acceptable idea, not a solution, idea. Pending, something which you know is going to work, but you don't have proof for that. You haven't searched the market, you haven't gone to suppliers, you haven't talked to contractors, but you don't lose that idea. So keep it on the pending lot. It's parking lot. The list of parking lot ideas, which may come up later on in the next schematics phase of detailed engineering, you have enough information to apply this. And then there are ideas which are ridiculous, which will simply not work on the project. Not that they are crazy ideas, but it's wrong timing. You have gone past the detailed engineering and then you come up with saying, how about massing the building differently? Sorry, that's too late. So those are the ideas which will be rejected. But recorded why it was rejected at the time. It was too early, too late, information is not available, decision is not there, client is sitting there not making decision, then you reject. Again, it's all recorded. Which are pending or you can put E against that. So categorize. And approximate cost saving of this idea which you have discussed and you have taken care of details. Somebody has calculated the technical side of it and financial side, and approximately say during the workshop we want to just identify and move away so that you can check it out later on. So you assign a value to the best of your judgment. So okay, approximately it will be plus or minus 20%, but it is recorded there. So you put the values and then you come, all the ideas are done. Then there is a break. After the presentation, initial what we call presentation phase, which is initial, which is verbally presented to the owner, saying the team has worked for 2 days and they followed this process. Then they have done the brainstorming, speculation, and ultimately these are the indicated numbers that we have. So we are asking the decision makers to say, please look at the work which we have done and give us a decision which ideas to be implemented and which has to be ignored. Again, accept, pending, reject. You go through that. Then after maybe a couple of weeks or maybe 4 weeks time, you reconvene the workshop, but only with the owner and the discipline heads. And again, keep on saying, we have now taken 4 weeks, studied all these ideas, recorded, tested them, checked the market, checked the availability, so on. And Mr. Owner, now we are saying these ideas are acceptable and cost saving will, more or less definite cost saving will come up, and it will be the next column similar to this cost saving will be on the implementation level. That's the time client will say, yes, out of 50, earlier 50 ideas, now we got only 20 ideas, but they are well proven, will work. Client will say, all right, now go ahead and put it in the design. And the cost saving is almost, more or less, you can expect up 70 to 80% of those figures stand up. So you have implementation action by what action requires to be taken based on this, and who is going to do it, and how much time does it take. So it closes the gap, and now you identified when, where, how, and you're well taken enough time and consideration to be confidently going in, that it will not bounce back and say, when we went to the construction, it didn't work. We already tested it. So in a nutshell, this 5 phase plus implementation equals 6 phase is universal. Most of the value engineers follow this. Society of American Value Engineers, they have 6 phase, and it basically works through a structured process where you take time to make your suggestions. Now, I think that's all I can talk about. But my expectation is that I want a lot of questions. Anything that you heard, seen, work, did not work, please speak up.
Can we have fast, you were talking about fast analysis, right?
Yes.
Functionality analysis technique. Do you have any samples for that?
Fast, yes, but I can send it to you. It's very interesting, depending on the time. How much time do we have? You have? Okay,
You have to just raise your hands, I'll pass the mic around for the question.
good idea, yes. Okay, talking about fast. The function analysis system technique. That is a long on the short fast. And what happens is that you walk, you have the beginning of the project, what is in hand and what you want to achieve. There. So when you start, you have design, for example. You have done the preliminary design, and then you move to the next step. The schematic design, the 3D, then you go to the construction part. And finally, it's closed. Now, to trace it backwards, then you say, you ask this question. First, when you go through this, you say, how? How this is going to be achieved? You have given, for example, you have given an idea of exploring alternatives. Sorry, let's talk about design process. You have done schematic design, you move to the schematic, the detailed design, you go to the thing, and you say this is how it will be done. And you work with yourself. Why is it necessary? So you justify why and how. How is the process and why is justification. And you can cross-check these things where you have tested self and you identify the sub-elements and components. It's difficult to imagine without seeing it, but it's basically a flow diagram which works backwards and forward. Right? Work forward to progressively and work backward while challenging. Now, this is what I would suggest people are interested, I can have a session on fast. It's one subject, one whole workshop on personality only.
Good evening to you all. It's a wonderful session we had already about the value engineering. I think when it comes to value engineering, we all really like it because we can reduce some cost, isn't it, to maintain that same function. It's wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. We had a wonderful international conference in Bangalore on 1st of August this year, and many members from here were present during the meeting. And we also published our international magazine during the conference. A fantastic magazine. Basically, we made a great effort to make that magazine as a guide for the professional to use here. Accordingly, we approached a number of professionals, experts in the field, and they contributed. Wonderful piece of work, and that is now incorporated in the magazine. The magazine was supported by a number of sponsors. When we approached sponsors, they were happy to support us, and with their support actually we were able to meet the cost and also able to continually provide such seminars for the industry professionals, and that's really very much appreciable, and we thank you all the sponsors who contributed to this event. We have a number of people to name them. Particularly, there was a small committee who worked behind, in which Sini was the chief editor, and Mr. Dharmendra Pardasani, and Rathod, Johnson Neil, and their contribution and the editorial board made a wonderful work. And we also had a number of people work together to make this magazine a success, and to get the sponsorship. I would like to name Aslam, Sayyed Aslam. He brought the maximum sponsorship, and one thing to mention is he set an example. He went to his company and said that I'm going to collect some money for this professional institution for the benefit of the professional. And he disclosed the matter, and the company, in fact, they returned to their UK office and got permission for him to collect the sponsorship. That's a wonderful thing. Conflict of interest disclosed and made it an example. So in future, in fact, when we actually collect money on behalf of the institute, actually we can disclose to the company and make it in a professional way. And we also collected the money through the check or the transfer to MCI. So set an example. And thank you so much for all the committee members who worked behind and making this magazine a grand success. We published that in Bangalore, but we have not distributed the magazine here in UAE, and we take this opportunity today to thank the sponsors here in Dubai and to distribute the wonderful magazine tonight.